An SOS from a distant human colony shattered the galaxy's illusions, awakening ancient dreadnoughts. Humans long underestimated now rise with unstoppable power, fleets blazing through space, ready to defend their people. The aliens will learn the true meaning of fear. Subscribe now to witness humanity's awakening. The colony on the edge of known space had always been quiet, a small human settlement far from the bustling centers of civilization. Yet that quiet was shattered as strange, glowing lights appeared in the sky, alien warships moving faster than any human eye could track. Alarms blared throughout the colony, sending people running for shelter. Families grabbed what little they could carry, while soldiers rushed to man the outdated defense systems. The humans were few, but their courage burned bright. Commander Alara dashed through the command center, her hands moving swiftly over the controls, scanning the sensors as alerts flashed one after another. The alien fleet was unlike anything humanity had faced. Their ships were sleek, massive, and armed with weapons capable of tearing through the colony's defenses with ease. Every cannon the humans had fired barely made a dent in the oncoming threat. Yet they refused to surrender, determination guiding every action. Children hid in reinforced bunkers, their small hands clutching blankets and toys as distant explosions shook the ground. Scientists tried to save precious research data and energy cores, vital for keeping the settlement alive. Buildings trembled under the alien bombardment. Clouds of dust and smoke filled the air. Screams echoed through the streets. Yet even in fear, people worked tirelessly, knowing the only chance of survival was to send a message to the stars. Alara took a deep breath and pressed the transmit button, her voice steady despite the chaos. "This is Colony Theta 9. We are under attack, requesting immediate assistance. Coordinates follow." The signal was encoded to reach any human fleet that might still exist in the uncharted reaches of space. The SOS was more than a cry for help. It was a lifeline. A plea that carried the hope of an entire settlement. The transmission shot through space, bouncing across ancient communication relays and abandoned satellites. Alien interference scrambled parts of the signal. But the message remained clear. Somewhere, far beyond the sight of the alien fleet, dormant human ships detected the distress call. Systems that had been silent for centuries flickered to life. The galaxy had long forgotten these vessels, yet they were waiting for the moment they would be needed. Back on the colony, every human moved with purpose, reinforcing barricades, salvaging weapons, and guiding civilians to safety. Engineers rerouted power to keep essential systems online, while the alien ships drew closer, casting long, dark shadows over the settlement. Each strike felt like the end, yet no one surrendered. Every shot fired, every defensive maneuver was an act of defiance. Humans would not be crushed without a fight. The alien commanders observed with curiosity and disbelief. Humans had always seemed weak and scattered, insignificant in the greater galaxy. Yet this one colony resisted with ferocity that they could not comprehend. How could such small beings pose a threat? They prepared to strike harder, confident that the humans would fall quickly. Yet even as they attacked, the colony held, fueled by desperation and courage. Alara coordinated the remaining human fleet, small cargo ships modified with weapons and shields, forming a fragile perimeter to delay the alien advance. Parents shielded children. Soldiers stood firm against overwhelming odds. The scene was chaotic and terrifying, yet filled with heroism. Every human present fought as if the future of their species depended on it, because it did. The SOS continued its journey through space, reaching places long abandoned by humans, where massive dreadnoughts lay dormant, waiting for a call that might never come. Systems that had been silent for centuries began to stir. Sensors flickered, engines hummed with life. Centuries of waiting were coming to an end. The humans of the colony could not see it yet, but help was on the way. The battle intensified as alien forces landed troops and engaged the defenders. Explosions rocked the city. Smoke and fire filled the horizon. Yet hope remained, stubborn and unyielding. Humans refused to give in, knowing that the SOS they sent had reached ears that would respond. Far away in the depths of space, ancient dreadnoughts began to awaken, their presence a silent promise that humanity was not alone, and the galaxy was about to witness their return. Deep in a hidden human stronghold, the massive dreadnoughts had rested for centuries, their colossal hulls silent and dark, systems frozen in time. The galaxy above had forgotten them, believing humanity weak and scattered. Yet inside these ancient vessels, waiting in hibernation pods, pilots, engineers, and strategists slept, unaware of the centuries that had passed. Automated systems hummed to life as the distant SOS signal reached the stronghold. Alarms echoed softly through the corridors. The dreadnoughts were waking. Lights flickered across control panels. Long unused consoles sparked to life. The dormant AI systems ran diagnostics, scanning every system from weapons arrays to engine cores. Massive engines rumbled as ancient fuel reactors reignited. The ground beneath the ships vibrated slightly, a low, powerful hum that had not been heard in generations. Humans who had built these ships had left instructions, codes, and protocols that even time could not erase. And now, the signal of distress had triggered them all. Inside the hibernation chambers, pods slowly opened, releasing clouds of mist as the sleepers were awakened. Their eyes fluttered open to a galaxy very different from the one they had left. Yet the mission was the same: protect humanity, defend the colonies, and respond to a call for help. Muscles stiff from centuries of suspended animation. They moved with practiced precision, checking their suits, weapons, and command interfaces. Memory banks activated. Old battle strategies surfaced effortlessly. It was as if no time had passed. Engineers emerged from their pods, immediately scanning the systems for any faults or corruption. Consoles responded to their touch. Lights pulsed in response to commands. The dreadnought's immense weapons powered up. Shields hummed with energy. Turrets rotated to life. And the ship's massive cannon barrels extended, ready for combat. The scale of these ships was beyond anything the galaxy had seen. Massive enough to dwarf entire fleets, yet each system operated with precise efficiency, a silent testament to human ingenuity. Pilots floated in zero-gravity chambers as their suits attached automatically, helmets sealing with an almost organic motion. Their neural links synced with the ship, data streaming directly into their brains. Maps, targets, and battle simulations running faster than thought itself. Centuries of technology combined with human skill created a force the galaxy could not imagine. Every movement, every calculation, instinctively prepared them for the coming battle. The Dreadnought's AI systems began analyzing the galaxy, identifying threats, allies, and escape routes. The SOS signal was traced back to Colony Theta 9, pinpointing the location with perfect accuracy. Every weapon system calibrated for optimal impact. Engines prepared for rapid deployment. A deep resonance of power filled the hangars, echoing like a heartbeat, a sign that the most lethal human vessels were ready to rise once more. Outside the stronghold, the stars stretched endlessly, but within, humans worked seamlessly, awakening a sleeping armada that could strike fear into even the most confident alien fleets. Memories of past wars, long victories, and losses flowed into the crew, reminding them of what was at stake: unity. Courage and strategy were their weapons, even more deadly than the dreadnoughts themselves. As the final checks were completed, the dreadnoughts slowly rose from their docks, thrusters igniting with immense force. The ships lifted off the hidden platforms, breaking through centuries of dust and silence. Their presence in space announced with a thunderous roar that rippled across the void. Fleets that had once dismissed humanity began to sense an unfamiliar power awakening, far beyond what they had expected. Pilots coordinated, ships aligned into formation, every crew member taking their post with exacting discipline. The dreadnoughts moved as one, a single unstoppable entity, yet controlled by humans who had waited patiently for this moment. Every system prepared, every weapon primed, and the echo of the distant SOS pulsed through the command decks, reminding them of the lives they were about to save, the colonies they were about to defend, and the galaxy they were about to shock. The galaxy, unaware of the massive power awakening in its shadows, had assumed humans were weak, scattered, and insignificant. But now the first dreadnought broke into open space, engines blazing, weapons ready. The human fleet was alive again, centuries of waiting over, prepared to confront the alien threat, defend the helpless, and remind the universe that humanity was far from powerless. The most lethal vessel in the galaxy had awakened, and nothing would stand in its path. The galaxy had long believed humans weak, scattered, and harmless, a species unworthy of attention. Yet the awakening of the dreadnoughts changed everything. Massive ships that had slept for centuries now glowed with energy, engines humming like the heartbeat of a giant. And humans, long thought insignificant, were finally showing their true strength. Pilots, engineers, and strategists moved with unmatched precision, their minds sharp, instincts honed, every action designed to maximize efficiency and destruction. Alien observers could not comprehend what they were seeing. Centuries of underestimating humans had left them blind to the potential lurking beneath their surface. Fleets that once laughed at human colonies now froze at the sight of the massive dreadnoughts, their shadows covering stars as the ships moved in perfect formation. Energy shields glimmering, weapons charging. The humans were no longer the species they had dismissed. They were something else entirely. On board the dreadnoughts, crews worked seamlessly, as if time had not passed, despite centuries in hibernation. Muscle memory, tactical knowledge, and battle experience returned instantly. Each pilot monitored hundreds of systems at once. Engineers recalibrated weapons to peak performance, and strategists ran simulations at speeds no alien mind could match. The human crew acted as one with the ship, a living, thinking weapon of unprecedented power. Humanity's colonies watched in awe and fear as the first dreadnoughts appeared in orbit, ships long thought myths now visible against the void, energy beams flaring, turrets spinning into readiness. Civilians on the planets below could barely comprehend the scale. Entire cities reflected the glow of the massive vessels above, yet a sense of hope spread through them. Hope that their desperate cries for help had not gone unanswered. Meanwhile, alien fleets tried to respond, but hesitation and fear slowed their movements. The humans moved faster, coordinating with intelligence gathered over centuries, strategies within strategies, unfolding almost too quickly for the aliens to track. Every maneuver the humans executed was precise, every strike devastating. The dreadnought's firepower was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Massive energy cannons tore through enemy ships as if they were paper, leaving nothing in their path. Within the dreadnoughts, AI systems interfaced with human crews, amplifying their knowledge, predicting enemy movements, and calculating outcomes. The combination of human ingenuity and machine efficiency created an unstoppable force. Humans who had once been dismissed as weak now commanded the galaxy's most lethal vessels. Every human on board knew the stakes, that the survival of their species and the safety of colonies depended on their performance. As the dreadnoughts moved deeper into space, news of their awakening spread. Communication relays intercepted by other civilizations carried stories of their immense size, their destructive power, and the humans who commanded them. Whispers of "the sleeping giants have risen" echoed from system to system. Fear replaced mockery, and respect began to grow where arrogance had once dominated. The galaxy was realizing that humans were far from harmless, far from weak. Back in the colonies, human defenders coordinated with the newly awakened fleet, sending tactical data, enemy positions, and resource updates. The dreadnoughts responded instantly, moving with precision to intercept threats, shields activated, weapons ready, and morale soared, as humans saw that their forgotten legacy had returned. Long-lost technology and skill combined with courage and determination to create an advantage that no alien could match. The first encounter with enemy fleets cemented the new reality. Dreadnoughts moved with terrifying speed, striking hard, withdrawing just as quickly, alien ships disintegrating under concentrated fire. Maneuvers executed with a synchronization that could only be the product of centuries of planning and human ingenuity. The galaxy could no longer doubt what humans were capable of. The species they had ignored had grown into a force capable of altering the balance of power. Through it all, the human crews felt a quiet pride, not arrogance, but the recognition that centuries of survival, ingenuity, and courage had led to this moment. The dreadnoughts were not just weapons, they were symbols, proof that humanity could rise from the shadows of history, feared and underestimated, to reclaim their place among the stars. And as their engines glowed against the darkness of space, the galaxy realized that the humans' true power had always been waiting, hidden, and now fully awake. Humans mobilized their forces with a speed and precision that surprised even their own commanders. Colonies that had once been isolated now coordinated through secure communication channels. Pilots, engineers, and civilians all moved with purpose, Every human on board ship stations, and planets understood the stakes. They were no longer merely defending themselves. They were responding to a call that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Every action had to count. Every decision mattered. In orbital command centers, officers traced the positions of alien fleets while simultaneously directing human vessels into strategic formations. Cargo ships were armed with makeshift weapons, research vessels converted into firepower platforms, and drones assembled into defensive swarms. Even the smallest assets were used effectively, showing ingenuity and adaptability that the galaxy had never witnessed. Humans had learned to survive against impossible odds, and now they applied that skill on a massive scale. On the surface of colonies, civilians and militia worked tirelessly to prepare, reinforcing shelters, coordinating supply routes, and maintaining communications with orbiting ships. Engineers rerouted energy from non-essential systems to power defensive turrets and shields. Everyone contributed. Every effort counted. And even the youngest and oldest showed courage, moving with calm determination despite the looming threat above. The human spirit of resilience was visible in every action, every movement. The dreadnoughts, now fully operational, acted as both command centers and symbols of power. Their crews monitored every system, scanned the galaxy for enemy activity, and deployed their smaller vessels with meticulous timing. The massive ships moved with precision, engines blazing, shielding entire fleets under their protection. Alien commanders could see them from light years away and could feel the shift in momentum. The humans were no longer a minor nuisance. They were a coordinated, unstoppable force. Civilians trained in emergency combat procedures assisted soldiers, using improvised weapons and vehicles to bolster defenses. The coordination between experienced military personnel and civilians demonstrated humanity's unique ability to adapt quickly. Humans were not just reacting. They were anticipating, setting traps, predicting alien maneuvers, and countering threats before they fully materialized. Even the aliens began to recognize the intelligence and resourcefulness in their opponents. A species long underestimated had finally revealed its cunning. Every human fleet in motion was connected through real-time data links, sharing maps, enemy positions, and battle simulations. Strategies evolved on the fly as humans adjusted to changing conditions. The combination of instinct, training, and technology allowed them to execute maneuvers that seemed impossible. Alien fleets tried to respond, but every advance was anticipated. Every attack countered. The humans' ability to coordinate across vast distances gave them an edge no other species could match. The dreadnoughts' weapon systems prepared for maximum impact, turrets rotating, energy beams charging, and missiles armed. Yet deployment was strategic, not reckless. Every strike was calculated to maximize efficiency, minimize risk, and protect allied forces. Smaller human ships darted between massive dreadnoughts, delivering supplies, reinforcements, and critical intelligence. The galaxy watched as humans transformed every asset into a part of a unified machine, a living network of defense and offense working as one. Communication networks across colonies buzzed with activity. Updates from scouts, reports of alien movements, and morale messages flowed through the human command structure. Every individual, from the highest-ranking officer to the youngest technician, contributed to the operation. There was no confusion, no hesitation, only coordinated effort. Humans had turned desperation into advantage, creating a system that could respond faster and more effectively than any other species could imagine. As fleets aligned and defensive perimeters strengthened, humans prepared for the first major engagement. Civilians evacuated from high-risk zones, while soldiers, pilots, and dreadnought crews finalized tactics. Energy shields glimmered, weapons charged, and every system hummed with anticipation. The galaxy's most feared vessels were ready, not just to survive, but to assert humanity's presence and power. The aliens could no longer dismiss them, underestimate them, or ignore them. In every corner of human-controlled space, from the smallest outpost to the largest colonies, a single purpose united them: survival, defense, and the promise that the SOS that had been sent would not go unanswered. The combination of courage, strategy, technology, and unity made humanity more than a force to be reckoned with. It made them unstoppable. And as engines roared and fleets moved into position, the galaxy could see the awakening of a species that had long been underestimated. fully prepared to fight back. Human forces arrived at the besieged colony with a determination that could not be shaken. Massive dreadnoughts led the formation, their engines glowing and weapons primed. Smaller human ships flanked them, creating a defensive wall that no alien fleet had expected. Energy shields pulsed across the perimeter, deflecting incoming fire, and civilians watched from bunkers and reinforced buildings. Hope returning as the first human vessels entered the system. Alien warships moved quickly to intercept, confident in their numerical superiority, their weapons firing relentlessly. Yet human fleets reacted faster, coordinating attacks with precise timing. Dreadnoughts unleashed massive energy blasts that disintegrated enemy ships instantly. Smaller human vessels used agility to dodge incoming fire while targeting weak points. The combination of speed, power, and strategy created chaos within the alien ranks. They had never faced opponents who could anticipate and counter so effectively. On board the dreadnoughts, crews worked seamlessly, monitoring enemy movements and calculating firing solutions. Engineers adjusted energy output to maximize weapon efficiency, while pilots synchronized maneuvers across vast distances. Every shot counted. Every movement was calculated. Alien commanders could only watch in disbelief as their most powerful vessels were torn apart one by one. The humans moved like a single organism, instinct and intelligence guiding every action. The colony itself became a hub of resistance. Humans on the ground provided targeting data, repaired damaged ships, and organized evacuation routes for civilians. Each person played a vital role. The courage of ordinary people amplified the power of the fleet. Alien troops that attempted to land were met with well-prepared defenses, barricades, traps, and concentrated fire from human soldiers, engineers, and drones. Even with superior numbers, the aliens struggled against the coordinated resistance. The first strikes from the dreadnoughts were devastating. Alien fleets that had mocked human colonies moments before were obliterated within minutes. Energy beams cut through the darkness of space, exploding ships like fireworks. Smaller craft darted between larger vessels, disabling engines and weapon systems. The humans demonstrated that power was not just in numbers, but in precision, coordination, and strategy. Every destroyed ship sent a message across the galaxy. Humans were no longer weak, they were deadly. Within the human fleet, morale soared. Every crew member understood the stakes. Every action was meaningful. Pilots communicated rapidly, sharing enemy positions and adjustments. Engineers ensured weapons never overheated. Strategists predicted enemy patterns and advised commanders. The fleet operated as a single, intelligent unit. The combination of centuries-old dreadnoughts and modern technology created a synergy the aliens could not counter. Alien leaders tried to regroup, sending waves of fighters and capital ships to flank the humans. Yet each maneuver was anticipated. Traps and counterattacks shattered their plans. Massive explosions lit the void as human weaponry tore through their ranks. Alien morale began to crumble. Confusion spread among their forces. The humans' unexpected power and tactical genius had shifted the balance. A species once considered weak now dominated the battlefield with precision and ruthlessness. On the ground, colony defenders coordinated with orbital fleets, sharing sensor data and targeting information. Every turret, drone, and missile launcher contributed to the fight. Even civilian-operated weapons found targets. The unity between ground and space forces made the alien attacks nearly impossible to succeed. Buildings shook under enemy fire, yet humans held. Every corner, every corridor, every station played a part in the battle. The human fleet's strategy was not just to defend, but to strike fear into the enemy. Dreadnoughts moved in calculated patterns, forcing alien ships to retreat or face total destruction. Smaller human vessels harassed flanks, intercepting reinforcements and cutting supply lines. Alien commanders realized too late that they were facing not just technology, but intelligence, courage, and adaptability. Their superiority in numbers meant nothing against humans who could anticipate, adapt, and overcome. By the end of the first major clash, alien forces were shattered. Some fleets annihilated entirely. Others scattered in retreat. Humans had not only defended the colony, but demonstrated the lethal potential of their species. The dreadnoughts and supporting vessels glowed with victory, a statement of power and resilience across the galaxy. Observers began to realize that humans were no longer the weak, scattered species they had assumed. They were a force capable of turning the tide of any battle. As humans repaired damage and regrouped, their eyes turned toward the next threat, confident that every action, every strategy, every vessel had proven its worth. The first clash had shown the galaxy that humanity was back, stronger than ever, and the alien forces would remember this day as the moment they underestimated the true power of humans, a species rising from the shadows to assert control over their destiny. Human commanders studied the battlefield with sharp focus, analyzing every move of the alien fleets, their experience, intuition, and strategy combining into a deadly precision. Dreadnoughts and smaller ships moved in coordinated patterns, each action designed to exploit weaknesses in enemy formations. Humans did not merely fight. They predicted, planned, and adapted in real time, every decision aimed at turning the aliens' strength into their weakness. The aliens, confident in their numbers and technology, tried to regroup, sending wave after wave of fighters and capital ships to encircle the humans, yet every maneuver was anticipated. Humans set traps and ambushes, luring alien ships into zones where energy beams, missiles, and concentrated fire could destroy them efficiently. Smaller human vessels darted between massive dreadnoughts, delivering precision strikes while avoiding enemy fire. The combination of speed, firepower, and tactical ingenuity overwhelmed the invaders. On board the dreadnoughts, crews worked like a single organism, pilots coordinating maneuvers across vast distances, engineers maintaining energy levels for weapons and shields, strategists calculating probabilities for every engagement, every action synchronized with perfect timing. The humans' ability to adapt in real time gave them an advantage no alien commander had anticipated. Centuries-old tactics combined with modern intelligence allowed them to outthink opponents at every turn. Ground forces contributed to the battle, sharing sensor data, providing target information, and defending strategic points. Civilian engineers repaired critical infrastructure under fire, every weapon, turret, and drone integrated into the defense. The unity between colonies in the fleet created a network of lethal efficiency. Even the smallest human settlements played a role, demonstrating that humanity's strength was not only in technology, but in collaboration, resilience, and determination. The dreadnoughts unleashed devastating barrages, targeting enemy command ships first, breaking formations and creating confusion among alien ranks. Massive energy blasts tore through hulls, while smaller ships intercepted reinforcements and disabled critical systems. Alien morale began to falter as their most powerful vessels were destroyed with surgical precision. Humans had turned defense into offense, using the terrain of space, sensor data, and superior tactics to control the flow of battle. Alien commanders attempted to adapt, forming new strategies and flanking maneuvers. But humans anticipated every move, predicting their patterns and countering them with creative strategies. One fleet was lured into a trap where multiple dreadnoughts focused fire simultaneously, destroying ships in minutes. Another was forced into a tight corridor between asteroids where human fighters used terrain to their advantage. Every engagement showcased the combination of cunning, patience, and bold execution. Civilians watched from secure locations as humans demonstrated coordination and bravery. The galaxy had long underestimated this species, assuming weakness and scatter. Yet humans displayed unity and intelligence that no alien race had expected. Even the most powerful adversaries were forced onto the defensive, unable to adapt quickly enough to counter the humans' combined force of strategy, technology, and instinct. The Dreadnought's AI systems enhanced the humans' abilities, calculating enemy trajectories, predicting damage outcomes, and optimizing weapon systems. Yet it was human creativity that made the difference. Engineers devised new solutions under fire. Pilots executed maneuvers that no algorithm could plan perfectly. Commanders improvised strategies that adapted to alien responses. A synergy between mind and machine that created overwhelming superiority. Every engagement reinforced the humans' reputation. Alien fleets that had once mocked humanity now feared them. The tactical genius of humans became apparent. Every ship, drone, and weapon integrated into a single coordinated machine, humans exploited every weakness, avoided every trap, and turned every danger into an opportunity. Their victories were not merely technical, but strategic, reshaping the battle in their favor with each move. As the battle progressed, humans expanded their control, isolating alien groups, cutting off reinforcements, and reclaiming critical sectors. Dreadnoughts moved with immense power, protecting smaller ships while delivering crushing firepower to key targets. The aliens, overwhelmed and disoriented, struggled to respond effectively. Humans were no longer reacting. They dictated the pace and direction of the fight, every strike deliberate, every move calculated. By the end of the engagement, alien forces were fragmented, their morale shattered, and human commanders had demonstrated the full potential of their species. Centuries of planning, ingenuity, and resilience had culminated in a decisive display of strategy and skill. The galaxy had witnessed humans fighting not as weak colonies, but as a unified, intelligent, and unstoppable force. And the legacy of the dreadnoughts had proven that humanity could not only survive, but dominate. News of the human resurgence spread across star systems with astonishing speed. Colonies that had long felt abandoned suddenly saw fleets of dreadnoughts moving through space, their engines glowing like beacons of hope. Humans who had been underestimated for centuries were now being recognized as a powerful force. Whispers traveled from system to system. Alien civilizations that had once mocked humanity now watched with a mixture of fear and awe. The galaxy was waking to the reality that humans were no longer weak or scattered. Observers from distant worlds intercepted communications, scanned energy signatures, and saw the devastating efficiency of human fleets in action. Entire sectors reported the destruction of alien warships and the precise coordination of human forces. Even the most powerful alien generals realized that they had misjudged this species. Humanity's ability to unite, strategize, and execute with intelligence and courage was far beyond expectations. The galaxy began to understand that humans had been underestimated at their peril. Within human-controlled space, morale soared. Colonies shared information about the awakened fleets, coordinated supply routes, and reinforced each other's defenses. The synergy between ground and space forces created a network that was nearly impossible to disrupt. Communications flowed seamlessly. Data from scouts, sensors, and field units integrated into strategic plans. Humans adapted quickly to every new threat, showing a combination of ingenuity, courage, and teamwork that no other species had managed to replicate. Dreadnoughts moved like silent giants through the galaxy, their weapons charged and shields active. Smaller vessels acted as scouts, interceptors, and support, forming a complex and efficient formation. Alien fleets that had once dominated human colonies now found themselves outmaneuvered, their strategies anticipated and countered with precision. The human fleet was no longer merely defensive. It controlled the pace, dictating when and where battles would occur, forcing opponents to react rather than act. Alien commanders attempted to rally their scattered forces, sending reinforcements to threatened sectors. Yet human ships intercepted them before they could regroup. Devastating energy barrages tore through enemy formations, while human pilots executed daring maneuvers that exploited weaknesses in the alien designs. No attack was wasted. Every move had purpose, and the efficiency of human coordination left the invaders bewildered, fearful, and often defeated before the first salvo even hit. Civilians in colonies watched as humans reclaimed control over their space, fear turning into hope, and hope into pride. Communities that had once been desperate now saw fleets of dreadnoughts and supporting ships as symbols of protection and resilience. Humans on the ground aided in defense operations, repairing stations, coordinating evacuations, and providing intelligence to orbiting fleets. The collaboration between ordinary people and elite crews made humanity's presence in space stronger than any single weapon or ship could be. Strategists aboard the dreadnoughts studied alien tactics, predicting movements and countering strategies with creative solutions. Humans adapted faster than aliens could, every engagement reinforcing their dominance. The combination of centuries-old technology, human ingenuity, and courage made them nearly unstoppable. The galaxy began to take notice, understanding that humans were no longer a minor species, but a major player, capable of altering power dynamics across multiple sectors. Messages of victories and coordinated defenses reached even remote systems, inspiring humans scattered across the galaxy to rise, unite, and contribute. Isolated colonies that had once thought themselves helpless now felt empowered, seeing that a larger, intelligent, and organized force represented them. The dreadnoughts were not just ships, They were symbols of humanity's resilience, intelligence, and the ability to rise from obscurity to control their destiny. Alien civilizations began to adjust, realizing that previous assumptions about humans were catastrophic mistakes. Fear replaced arrogance, caution replaced carelessness, and negotiations, retreats, and recalculations became common. Humans, however, did not seek unnecessary conflict. Their goal was protection and assertion of their presence, demonstrating strength while minimizing unnecessary destruction. Yet every display of coordination and firepower reminded the galaxy that humanity could no longer be ignored. The awakening of humans across the galaxy created a ripple effect, inspiring allies, intimidating enemies, and shifting power balances. Humans had proven that survival was not enough. They could fight back intelligently, strategically, and decisively. The galaxy began to see them as a force to respect and fear, a species once underestimated now commanding attention, capable of changing the course of wars and shaping the future of countless worlds. As dreadnoughts continued their patrols and human fleets expanded their control, the message was clear. Humans were back, united, powerful, and unyielding. The galaxy could no longer dismiss them, underestimate them, or ignore their presence. Every sector that witnessed their rise knew that the era of weak, scattered humanity had ended, and a new era of fear, respect, and unstoppable force had begun. The SOS that had traveled across the galaxy had finally triggered a response that no one could ignore. Dreadnoughts that had slept for centuries now patrolled the stars with engines blazing, their immense power signaling to every civilization that humanity was awake and united. Humans were no longer scattered and weak. They had risen as a species capable of defending themselves and reclaiming their place among the stars. Colonies that had once felt isolated and abandoned now witnessed fleets arriving with unmatched precision. Civilians watched in awe as humans who had been underestimated for centuries took control of the battle. Energy shields flared, weapons charged, and smaller support ships coordinated flawlessly with the massive dreadnoughts. The galaxy saw for the first time that humans could fight with strategy, courage, and unstoppable force. Human commanders coordinated every move, sharing intelligence, predicting alien maneuvers, and executing strategies with perfection. Every fleet, every ship, every pilot and crew member acted as a single, unified entity. Alien forces that had once dominated human colonies found themselves scattered, overwhelmed, and unable to respond effectively. The awakening of humans had shifted the balance of power, proving that intelligence, planning, and adaptability could overcome even the largest and most technologically advanced fleets. Dreadnoughts moved like titans, their weapons unleashing destruction that shattered enemy formations. Smaller vessels supported with precision strikes, intercepting reinforcements and sabotaging enemy systems. Ground forces aided with data and targeting support. Every corner of human-controlled space became a coordinated network of defense and offense. The combined efforts of centuries-old technology and human ingenuity created an unstoppable force. Alien fleets attempted counterattacks, but humans anticipated every move, turning every danger into an opportunity. Traps were set, maneuvers executed with skill, and overwhelming firepower struck where it would cause the most disruption. The invaders quickly learned that their numbers meant nothing against humans who could predict, adapt, and execute with unmatched precision. Morale among alien forces began to falter as their most powerful ships were destroyed one after another. Across the galaxy, news of humanity's resurgence spread like wildfire. Civilizations that had dismissed humans as weak were forced to reevaluate their assumptions. The image of humans as harmless, scattered beings was replaced with fear and respect. Even distant observers began to recognize that the species they had ignored could no longer be dismissed. Every victory reinforced the idea that humans had returned to claim their place in the cosmos. Civilians celebrated and aided the effort, repairing critical infrastructure, providing intelligence, and supporting defense operations. Their courage and determination amplified the effectiveness of human fleets. Every individual, no matter their role, contributed to the defense and resurgence. The SOS that had seemed like a desperate plea now marked the beginning of a coordinated, galaxy-wide effort, showing that humanity was capable of unity on a scale that no enemy could match. The dreadnoughts themselves became symbols. their mere presence a warning and inspiration, massive and powerful, yet controlled by humans who had risen from centuries of obscurity. The galaxy could see the full potential of a species underestimated for far too long. Pilots, strategists, and crews operated as one, executing maneuvers and strikes that displayed skill, intelligence, and courage, proving that humans could fight as decisively as any civilization in history. As alien fleets retreated, scattered, and defeated, humans reclaimed control over critical sectors, securing colonies, protecting civilians, and asserting their dominance. The awakening of the dreadnoughts was not merely a military victory. It was a statement to the galaxy that humanity could no longer be ignored, underestimated, or dismissed. Every planet and system they protected became a testament to human resilience and strategy. The SOS had not only saved the initial colony, but had triggered a transformation across human civilization. The species once thought weak had risen stronger, smarter, and more united than ever. Dreadnoughts patrolled the stars as symbols of power and protection. Humans worked together across fleets and colonies, and the galaxy now understood that humanity was a force to be reckoned with, prepared to defend its people, assert its strength, and secure its rightful place among the stars. The awakening marked the start of a new era, one in which humans were no longer shadows of history, but dominant participants in galactic events. Their courage, strategy, and unity had changed the course of wars, shifted the balance of power, and ensured that the species that had long been underestimated was now feared, respected, and unstoppable. The galaxy had witnessed the rise of humanity, and there was no turning back.